Come on in. Good morning. This is Pastor Aaron. I want to talk to you about 3 unfulfilled prophecies of the Old Testament. Wait a minute. Aaron, I thought the Old Testament was all fulfilled. That's what I was taught. Let me talk about it. I want to give out 3 because I want to build your faith in God and what He is doing. So I'm going to give this briefly to you. I'm going to start with the first one. This is Isaiah. Okay, follow me on this. This is Isaiah. If you go to Isaiah 27:1, what do you hear? God says, I will kill the dragon. On that day, the Lord will punish Leviathan, the fleeing serpent. With his fierce and great mighty sword, even Leviathan, the twisted serpent, and he will kill the dragon who lives in the sea. Do you see that? He's going to punish and then kill. Has that been fulfilled? Has God killed the dragon? Well, first question is who is the dragon? Is that unfulfilled? Let me go to Revelation. Revelation, which is, here's the truth, is written in 95 AD, right? After the temple, and I'm saying this specifically because there's false doctrine going around saying that Revelation was fulfilled in the year 70 AD, and I'm here to disprove it because I want you to believe the truth. Do you hear me? Preterism and some of these things are twisting what God has promised. So do we see what I just read? God will punish Leviathan and will kill the dragon who lives in the sea. What is the dragon? I'm going to read to you out of the book of Revelation. I want you to give me your ears. Revelation 21. Are you ready? Then I saw an angel coming down from heaven, holding a key to the abyss and a great chain in his hand, and he took a hold of the dragon. Okay, what's he going to do with him? The serpent of old, who is the devil and Satan. That's the devil. That right there. The same name, same person, 4 different names. The dragon, the serpent of old, the devil, and the Satan. And what happens? He bounds him for 1,000 years, and he threw him into the abyss and shut it over so that he would not deceive the nations any longer. He punishes Leviathan in prison for 1,000 years, but it doesn't stop there. Then what happens? After 1,000-year millennial reign, which hasn't happened, God releases the devil, the dragon, the serpent. Then what happens? And the devil who deceived them was thrown into the lake of fire and brimstone where the beast and the false prophet are. And they will be tormented day and night. Do you see that? What is the lake of fire? Right here at the very end of the chapter, the lake of fire is described as a place called second death. Verse 14, the death and Hades were thrown into the lake of fire. This is the second death. The lake of fire is the second death. So when you read the Old Testament and you say, on that day, what is that? That's the day of the Lord. On that day, the Lord will punish Leviathan, the fleeing serpent, and he will kill the dragon who lives in the sea. How does he kill him? By sending him to the lake of fire, which is called the second death, death and killing. That has not been fulfilled. How could I prove that? Because Paul tells us in 2 Corinthians 4:4 that the God of this world is still blinding the minds of unbelievers so that they don't believe. Who's the God of this world? It isn't Jehovah. No, it is the dragon, Satan. He is still the God of this world system, Babylon, which you'll find out in Revelation. The Babylon will be destroyed and done away with. This world system is done away with, which leads to my point number 2, okay, which is the world, earth. First, the devil will be killed. Hasn't happened yet, and he hasn't been punished in prison. So that means that's still to come. End times are still to come, future. Okay, so the earth. What happens to the earth? Is this fulfilled? Zephaniah, not Zechariah, Zephaniah chapter 1 says right here that verse 18, and all the earth will be devoured by the fire of his jealousy, for he will make a complete end, indeed a terrifying one, of all the inhabitants of the earth. Has God made a complete end of the earth? Again, I'm going to address this. I've already proven the first one, right? I've already proven the first one. My screensaver just came off. I already did the first one. Let me say Zephaniah 1, I will completely remove all things from the face of the earth, and I will eliminate mankind from the face of the earth. Has that happened? Let me give you another Old Testament reference here. Go back to Isaiah 24:20. This is Old Testament. And let's see if this has been fulfilled. 24:20. What does God say? It says right here, the earth trembles like a heavy drinker and sways like a hut, from its wrongdoing is heavy upon it, and it will fall to never, never rise again. Has the earth fallen? Has God made a complete waste of it? Has he destroyed it? Let me give you another one. Verse Isaiah 24:1. Behold, the Lord lays the earth to waste and devastates it. He will twist its surface. Do you see that? One more. Isaiah 28:22, okay? And I'm going to show you where that happens in the future. 28:22. Let me flip there real quick. For I have heard from the Lord of armies, there is a decisive destruction on all of the earth. Okay, I can keep going. Do you see that? Now, there's a prophecy going. There's a false teaching going around that says, well, the earth doesn't literally mean the earth. It's allegory. Yay. It means a building. It means the temple. Well, let's see if that's true, because I want you guys to know the truth. Let me take you to Revelation. So Revelation is future tense, written in 95 AD. This was written after the destruction of the temple. Do not be fooled by those who are deceiving us with the word. Let me read right here. After Satan is bound, I read that in my point 1, Satan is bound and thrown into eternal fire. After that has happened, there's a judgment day, judgment, the great white throne. What happens at the very beginning of judgment day? That would be Revelation chapter 21, verse 11. Then I saw a great white throne and him who sat upon it, from whose presence earth and heaven fled away, and no place was found for them. So we see that earth and heaven disappear, and they're gone, never to be found again on Judgment Day at the great white throne. That's when it goes away. How do we know that? Because it says in verse 21, then I saw, chapter 21, then I saw a new heaven and a new earth, because the first heaven and the first earth passed away, and there is no longer any sea. So God creates a new heaven and the earth. Let's go further. Is that talking about heaven and earth? Or is it allegorical to the temple? Which doesn't make sense, because Revelation was written in 95 AD, and it's talking future tense, not past tense. But let's go deep into it. I got one more, and I'm done with this one. Point number 3. But let me show you. I'm on point number 2. Peter chapter 3. What Peter talks about in Peter chapter 3 is this. The coming day of the Lord, which is what we're talking about. All this stuff I'm talking about is still future tense, okay? They will question the end times. They will say, where's the promise of his coming? For ever since the fathers fell asleep, all things have continued where they have been from the beginning of creation. For when they maintain this, it escapes their notice that by the word of the Lord, see, I'm reading the word of the Lord. I'm reading the things. God says things, and then they happen. It seems the people who question the end times, it says they forget. For when they maintain this, it escapes their notice that by the word of the Lord, the heavens existed long ago, and the earth was formed out of the water. So God spoke it into existence, what he said. God keeps his word. So what is he talking about? What earth? What earth did he just mention? It was long ago that it was by the word. Listen, God, this is an important point. By the word, God created the heaven. What heaven? Is it the temple that he created, or is it the earth with all the nations on it? Which one is he talking about? Answer that question before I read the next point. For when they maintain this, it escapes their notice that by the word of the Lord the heavens existed and the earth was formed out of water. That's Genesis. That's literal. That we're talking about the earth. Context, people. This is the earth, but they will say this is not the earth. They will say, no, that's the temple we're talking about. Let's go on. I'll tell you why they say it's the temple, and I'll show you how they're wrong. But by his word, the present heavens, the ones that are down, and the earth are being reserved for fire, kept for the day of judgment. I just read the day of judgment, right? And destruction of ungodly people. Do you see that? And he goes on and he says, but the day of the Lord will come like a thief in the night, will come. This is written by Peter, in which the heavens will pass away with a roar, and the elements will be destroyed with intense heat, and the earth and its works will be burned up. Is that talking about a temple? Which earth? Remember the context? He said, I created the earth by the word, and the same word tells you that the earth will be destroyed. What is that word? I read it to you in Isaiah. So when you have someone walk into your church or someone telling you that all this stuff's allegory, you need to go out the door. Someone that can't understand the basic teaching. It's important to believe God and his word. That's the point of what I'm saying. Last one. Third unfulfilled promise. Oh, you're going to love this one. Man, I wish my screensaver didn't quit working. It was nice, but that's okay. Last one. Isaiah chapter 24. Let me flip back there. Lost my place. Isaiah 24. This is a good one. What is a third unfulfilled promise of the Old Testament? Isaiah 24:21, right here. I'm going to read it. So it will happen on that day, the day of the Lord. The Lord will punish the rebellious angels. I'm in Isaiah chapter 24:21, if you want to read it. The Lord will punish the rebellious angels on high and the kings of the earth on earth. They will be gathered together like prisoners in a dungeon and will be confined in prison, and after many days they will be punished. Then the moon will be ashamed and the sun will be put to shame, for the Lord of armies will reign on Mount Zion in Jerusalem. Okay, has he done this? Has he done this with the rebellious angels? Let's see what the word says, because this is what I believe. So we're going to turn to two verses, Jude and Peter. What do they say about it? Is it past tense or is it future tense? And Jude and Peter was written after Jesus ascended, correct? Correct. So then if they say will be, when I read this verse, if they say will be, then we know it has not happened. The first one right here is Jude 1:6. Are you ready for this? And the angels who did not keep their domain, but abandoned their proper abiding, these he has kept in restraints under darkness until the judgment of the great day. Oh, that has not come. They're under restraints, but they have not seen their judgment. Oh, let's go back to one more. What does Peter say in Peter chapter 2? Right here. But 2:2, many will follow their indecent behavior because the wrath of God is misaligned. He's talking about false preachers. He's warning them where their outcome is. False preachers, listen to this. Many will follow their indecent behavior. Because of them, the way of truth will be maligned, and in their greed, they will exploit you with false words. Their judgment from long ago is not idle, and their destruction is not asleep. And he says this, 4. But if God did not spare angels when they sinned, but cast them into hell and committed them into pits of darkness, held until judgment. Oh, their judgment, right, is to come. Do you see that? So they're waiting their judgment to be punished. Right now, they're under restraints. So those three things have not yet been fulfilled. But let me leave you with good news. Here's the hope. Know that God has, I've already said in the last episode, God has already said in Jeremiah, I'm committed to judgment of all men. Everyone will be under the judgment day is for everything. God, who's perfect, is going to judge the angels and men. It is all in the future. But here's the good news: He has mercy and compassion, sent Jesus to mankind. To mankind, Jesus said, "Heaven and earth will pass away." If Jesus said it, that means it's going to happen. Heaven and earth will pass away, just as Isaiah prophesied, and just as we see in the Revelation. We see the ending of it. But my word will never pass away. Why is that important? Jesus said, if you keep my commandments, then you love me. Jesus said that if you keep my word, you truly are my disciples. Do you see that? God tells us, Jesus tells us to believe in him. And he goes on to tell us that whoever comes to me, Jesus says, I will not drive away. Have you come to Jesus? Have you given your heart to him? Because all these things are going to come. If you're in, Jesus is the Word, John chapter 1. In the beginning was the Word was God, the Word was with God, the Word is God. Jesus is the Word. And if Jesus never passes away and you are in Jesus and Jesus is in you, guess what? Guess what? You have eternal life. Give your heart to Jesus. Share this. Be a media missionary. That means just a click of a like, type a comment, hit share, spread the gospel, let truth be spread. God love you. I love you.